Welcome and thank you for choosing True Grit, the show about what it really takes to rise, rebuild, and stay the course when life hits hard. I'm Kalish, a coach, storyteller, and believer in the kind of strength you can't fake. Around here, we talk about real people, real stories, and the lessons that shape us, from resilience and mindset to health and healing, because grit isn't about grinding harder, it's about who you become when you don't quit. Let's get into it. Welcome back to True Grit Podcast. I am Kalish. I am your host, and today I'm doing things a little different. I am podcasting Alfresco out here on my property. In case you don't have video, you might hear little chirpies, you might hear the wind blowing, but that is what I'm doing. I didn't feel like sitting inside, staring at a wall. I am doing updates and upgrades to my studio space, but it just hasn't happened yet. And I didn't want to put this off any longer just because I'm really excited to get into today's topic, because I'm noticing the comments more and more. People who genuinely just do not enjoy working out. And that's actually a majority of people. And here's the thing that might surprise you. Even the people who go to the gym regularly don't necessarily like going to the gym. Liking going to the gym is not the actual requirement. And so last night I was sitting with my husband just talking about this because it is a theme that I've been coming across more and more. And right now, I'm probably paying more attention to it, quite honestly, because I'm developing out my methodology, which I call the MOVE method, but I am formally programming this and creating a framework so that I can better serve my clients, make it a little bit more straightforward rather than just something that's in my head. And then I could also put it out there as like this evergreen product where people, whether they want to work with me directly or they just kind of want to DIY their health, they can go and pick up this program and be able to work on their own. And so I think I'm just more aware of the situation around wanting to have that motivation, that discipline, create that consistency and, overcome, build up that willpower, all the different phrases that come up for people when I see a lot of coaches wanting to get people motivated to get to the gym. And a lot of times they're telling people there is no such thing as getting motivated. You just have to be disciplined. You have to be willpower, like all of these things. And I get where they're coming from. I've had this discussion before, but there is so much more to it. So to go back to my conversation that I was having with my husband, where we're going over this topic of people thinking that you'd have to have this love for the gym to really enjoy it and keep going forward. So the thing is that he and I were not avid gym goers to begin with. We would kind of go in and out. Maybe something would come up and we would just feel that pull to get back on the bandwagon, but we just weren't consistent. Maybe it'd just be for 3 weeks, maybe a couple months, and then we're sore, something else would come up and we would just fall off of it, just like everybody else. So what shifted? And I believe as I've been going through my MOVE methodology, I am seeing the patterns a little bit more clearly so that that way I can now bring it to the forefront for other people and learn how to create that kind of consistency, that kind of discipline and motivation for themselves. This is a learned trait. There is just something about some of us that figure it out sooner. So MOVE is an acronym. It stands for motivate, optimize, visualize, and embody. And through the MOVE method, I take a person from basically inertia all the way through to taking action through kind of a step-by-step process. And I do believe that this can help just about anybody out there, whether you've been an avid gym goer and you've fallen off the wagon for a while, or you're somebody who kind of goes, but you still hate it. And then to the person who just hasn't been going at all. So without giving too much away right now in this podcast, it's because that's not necessarily this episode's focus. It is just kind of peeling back the layers of what I have been seeing. And we took a look at our own journey. We were inconsistent. Something happened and we became consistent. My husband started on it a lot sooner than I did. And I know for him, and then eventually for me, what shifted was something that was deeper than just I want to get fit for the summer. It became more about longevity, more about what's possible for our future. I know that the catalyst for him was seeing his 60-year-old father all of a sudden get into the best shape of his life. I mean, in better shape than we would see a lot of 20-year-olds get into. And so now there's this shift for us where we don't see aging as just this inevitable decline, that there's so much more in the decades to come. Just something that we hadn't really thought about. And I don't think a lot of people really think about that, because that's not what we're normally talking about. Normally what you hear is getting old sucks. Oh yeah, everything starts falling apart after, insert whatever age there. How many times have you heard like, oh yeah, you can do it now, just wait until you're 40 or wait until you're whatever. This is just something that we accept as our fate. And then getting to see that that's not necessarily true is just mind-blowing. And so it really did start to become more about longevity. Yes, like aesthetics is really cool and that can kind of keep you excited, but it's that longevity part, that like deep desire for ourselves to be able to age in that way. And so for many people, it's going to look different. Maybe it's wanting to make sure that you can keep up with your grandkids. It will be not wanting to pay out the ass for a nursing home or in-home care when you get older, being able to retain your independence, maybe being able to still travel, all of these different things. And I mean, it doesn't even have to just be one. It could be all of those things. I know it is for me, but as I've had to kind of overcome my own stop and go, there are things that have come up for me that keep me going as well. And so that's where that first part comes into play, that there's that catalyst, that little bit of the shift of, hey, I want to start working out because, and you get into that deeper why. So now we're getting to the gym. We're doing the thing, showing up even when we don't really want to. But right away, I notice for ourselves, I notice it with my clients, you don't really start seeing the physical aesthetic change occurring just yet. You notice that your energy increases, your sleep gets a little bit better, your mood starts to improve. Any kind of aches in your joints actually start to resolve themselves. And I see this a lot with my clients. A lot of times people will avoid exercise because they think it's going to make the pain worse, when in reality, it does make it better. Strength across the board, across the studies, makes pain better. It's very healing, and you do need to do it in the right way where it's appropriate. And so I do think that is a point where it's kind of a make or break for people. If you are going to the gym and it's making you feel lousy, that's probably going to break the cycle of going. And now, and the other part is, when I hear somebody say, well, I just don't enjoy working out. It sucks getting in there. I hate every moment of it. I do believe that it's a little bit of that programming, because eventually it does start to get easier. If you are following a kind of workout plan that is really, it's getting you stronger, you're noticing those strength gains, you're also noticing some changes in your body, it's those little reward points that kind of just keep you excited about moving forward. So if you got programming that isn't really challenging you, other than just making you sweat a lot and get your heart rate up and make you feel miserable afterwards, and yet you're really not seeing many changes after a few months, that can start feeling stagnant and not quite as exciting to keep going. And then people will still hate the gym. And so I know for us, and especially him, because men can tend to have these changes a lot quicker than women. There's some things with them physiologically that just trigger it quicker. And that may have been why I was a little bit more of a slower burn with getting back into it. But when you have that gratification of, wow, that weight was really heavy for me when I first started, and now that's just my warm up. Or you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror and things are starting to change and you're liking the shape better. like all those little things start to go, maybe I can do this. Maybe this does work. And I do believe that is where we start to see that shift from this is just a thing I have to do. I hate doing it. I'm going to do it anyway because I know it's good for me, blah, blah, blah. And then it shifts into like, well, like let's just kind of keep this going. Maybe this is gonna work out for me. It's seeing that vision of yourself start to shift, and it's a really cool place to start arriving. An example of how that starts playing into your discipline, because you started with that motivation and now you're becoming more disciplined without really having to force yourself, is because now there's like that call to action. Even when you've got things coming up, like you start to kind of crave it. It's still difficult when you go into the gym. I am still doing difficult things. The weight still gets heavier. I still have to power through things. There are definitely exercises in my program where I'm like, I don't want to do this thing. But you know what? I'm going to suck it up and try it anyway, because usually the thing that you dread doing the most is really the thing that you need to be doing. And so I think that's what people mean when they say you've got to fall in love with the process. And yes, it's true, but that's skipping over a lot of parts, because if I'm just going to tell somebody who doesn't enjoy going to the gym, oh, just fall in love with the process, and they go, how am I supposed to do that? I loathe going to the gym. How am I just going to convince myself that I love it all of a sudden? You don't. It's just the steps that you have to take and trust that eventually you're going to get there. It may take weeks, it may take months, but you do just have to trust in the process. And I think that's probably a little bit better than saying fall in love with the process. And I'm not going to sit here and say that every single time, once you reach that point of that discipline becoming more automatic, that you're not just going to want to fall off the wagon again. Like, there is still a structure, a lifestyle that you start to build up over time that keeps you going back at that point. And that's where I talk about with when I'm training somebody, that I make this process easier, because I have now created a process that takes you from point A to point Z, and being able to navigate all the messy things in the middle. And so the thing I do want to circle back on really quickly is about how somebody might stop seeing results after a while, and what programming actually is. And ideally, what you want to be doing is a program that is challenging you every step of the way. There are certain modalities that can be really effective, but I feel like the easiest one that people can follow is a strength training program that uses progressive overload. That means you're adding weights or reps every single time that you go into the gym. And there are different ways that you can play around with it. But the point is that everything needs to keep improving. You can't just keep doing the same workout time after time after time. You also don't need to be killing yourself. You also don't need killing yourself in the gym 5 days a week. 3 days a week is great. Do a full body workout. Do compound lifts. If you don't know what compound lifts are, start looking those up. Those are usually your squats. That's your bench press, your overhead press, your bent over rows, your deadlifts. There are other ones as well, but those are like the major ones that you can look into that are incorporating more than just one muscle group. And I'm not talking about like squat down and then with your little baby dumbbells and then overhead press when you come up. That's what they try to call a superset. It's not a real superset. Think about that. If you're coming down with really light weights, your legs are much stronger than your arms. So that weight isn't very much on your legs. And then when you come up, you push overhead, and you can't go very heavy because your arms can't push a lot of weight like that, not as much weight as your legs push. So when I see people doing those in the gym, I just see somebody who is leaving a lot on the table. That's one example, but you want to have ones where, again, like a squat, where that is actually working your back, that's working your glutes, your legs, multiple muscle groups all coming together to make one big movement happen. That's what I'm talking about with a compound lift, even with a bench press. That is not just your chest, that is using your arms as well, some back engagement too, some core. There's a lot more going on with the bench than a lot of people realize. But when you do these bigger lifts and they get incorporated into your workout, you don't have to do as many of these exercises. I'm working with clients who will do some of the circuit training, and I look and they're doing like 22 different exercises in one round, and it's just a lot. That's hard to keep track of. Most of them aren't really able to keep track of how heavy they're going, and you're just kind of being fatigued. There is a way to do some circuit training that's really effective, but I don't see a majority of people doing it that way. And I know my way isn't the only way. I just believe that this is the simpler way, and the simpler way means that people are going to stick to it longer. And if you're getting better results, that is also going to feed into the discipline. And that discipline keeps you consistent. The consistency is what gets you real results. And the results are what makes it all that much more gratifying. So I know that could be a lot. I do have my Move Studio membership. It is $35 a month, and I break things down very simply in the Move Studio. We take it step by step. We've got a very focused fitness theme for the month. We will do a very focused nutrition plan for the month of just 7 days that you can mix and match and integrate into your own normal meal planning routine. I do some lifestyle and mindset work in there as well. Everything is just very simple and intentional. And then I also do a weekly workout based on the fitness theme that month. More things coming in there. And then, of course, I've got my one-on-ones. Yes, I am pitching myself, but given the fact that even personal trainers use personal trainers, I do believe that most people could benefit from having a personal trainer and where we can simplify this for you. So anyway, whether you go with me or not, there are so many great personal trainers out there. And I do have other podcasts that are talking about personal trainer red flags. I would go and check that out. So when you are shopping around for a personal trainer, interviewing for a personal trainer, you really know what to look for. And that can really fully teach you the things that I talked about in this episode. So with that, I'm signing off. If you joined me on video, I hope you enjoyed the scenery out here. I hope you guys got to hear a few little birdies chirping. Anyway, until next time, take care. Thank you so much for being here on True Grit. I truly appreciate it. If this episode sparked something in you, share it, subscribe, or leave a quick review. It helps more people find these conversations. For more ways to connect, head to true-grit.fitness or come say hi on Instagram at true.grit_bold.wellness. I'll see you next time with more stories, lessons, and a little bit of grit.